joining us today and celebrating the reopening of Wightman Park. My name is Andrea Ketzel, and I am the Senior Landscape Architect with the Department of Public Works and the Project Manager for the Wightman Park project. With a project of this size, there's inevitably a large number of people that have come together to make this park a reality. So I'd like to first thank the administration, Mayor Peduto, Chief Gilman, and Councilmember Strasburger for their dedication to this park and really just making this park a priority and securing the funding needed to see the project through to completion. I'd also like to thank Director Gable and Assistant Director Hornstein from the Department of Public Works, as well as Grisela Espinoza and Barb Goodwin for their assistance on this project. We'd like to thank our project partners, PWSA, and our consultants on the project, Pashik MTR and Ethos Collaborative, as well as Public Artists, OOA Designs. And a very big thank you to our contractors who have been working tirelessly this past year to complete this project. Through all sorts of weather and different obstacles, they have really brought life back into this park, and we're so grateful for their work over the past year. So thank you to Eisler Landscapes and Jeffrey Associates for their work on the installation of the playground. And lastly, thank you to the community for your participation in the public process and all of your wonderful ideas and your patience during construction. This project has been a real joy and a privilege to work on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the community enjoy this space for many, many years to come. So thank you, and with that, I will pass it over to our project partners at PWSA and the Executive Director of PWSA, Will Pickering. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin also by thanking everyone who built this beautiful park. It's been a while since I've been here, and this is really a fantastic benefit to the community in our park system. PWSA is really proud to be a partner in this project. There are several stormwater components that are lying underneath. Some are visible as well. Right in front of me and behind many of you is a rain garden. And beneath the ball field, we actually have a storage tank that is right now, and I can't think of a better day to talk about stormwater than right now. It's capturing that stormwater that's flowing from the street, and it's storing it, and it's ultimately going to prevent flooding, prevent water quality issues out at our rivers, and is really just a great example of the multiple benefits that a project like this can have with our community. I also want to thank Mayor Peduto and his administration, Councilwoman Strassburger's office, Chief Gilman, who was then council member in a lot of these initial program discussions here for Wightman Park, because this really is a park that we can all be proud of. There's also going to be a second phase of the project that we're going to begin outside the footprint of the park that is going to capture additional stormwater and again improve river quality, reduce neighborhood level flooding, and provide that additional benefit to the community. I want to thank our partners at ALCOSAN who are contributing and have committed to actually the majority of the PWSA stormwater components of this project, all in with both phases. The total cost is approximately $4.5 million, and ALCOSAN has committed through their GROW program, which is a green infrastructure grant program, to provide approximately $3 million of that funding. So really a testament to ALCOSAN's leadership. Their board chair, Councilman Corey O'Connor, is here with us, the county executive, and ALCOSAN's leadership in partnering with PWSA and the city to deliver those benefits. And I really think this can be a model for the future of park investments, of PWSA stormwater projects in the future, and really just honored to be here today. So with that, I will turn it over to Tim Prevost. He's the manager of wet weather programs at ALCOSAN.
Thank you, everyone. ALCOSAN's GROW program started several years ago with the objective of trying to find impactful stormwater projects throughout our region. And we are very proud to have partnered with the City of Pittsburgh and the PWSA to provide funding for wonderful projects such as Wightman Park. This is a testament to collaboration with our customer municipalities to find, identify, and work together on projects that are going to help us with our overflow problem along the rivers. ALCOSAN on last Thursday, through the leadership of our board of directors, awarded over $15 million to our customer municipalities. As Will just pointed out, almost $3 million to PWSA and over $400,000 for the City of Pittsburgh for the work done in Wightman Park. This is a wonderful project. We look forward to collaborating with the City of Pittsburgh and PWSA on more projects like this. And I think Will pretty much talked a lot about our program. So let me just move this on to Representative Dan Frankel. Thank you.
Thank you, and boy, I walk by this almost every day, and to see this come to fruition, it's such a beautiful sight, and it's just spectacular that it also accomplishes so many important things for our wet weather environment here. And talking about collaborations, it's really been a labor of so many groups coming together, so many of us at elected officials, my colleague Senator Costa and I, the Department of Conservation Natural Resources in Harrisburg, the city. But it's also a tribute to the vision of our two council people, our former councilperson Dan Gilman and Erika Strassburger, I think, who conceived this and pushed it forward to help bring the collaboration that's needed to get it done. But I also think that this project, I grew up in Squirrel Hill, and I raised my family and my children in Squirrel Hill at the Blue Slide Park, at Shenley Park Playground, at the playground in Frick Park. And those venues are so important to the quality of life and the sense of community that we have. And to add this one, particularly during this week, a week in which we are experiencing together the 2 years that have gone by since the tragedy at Tree of Life. And we recognize that these types of venues are so critical to our sense of community, our sense of being together, also in this time of COVID when we're so isolated. I just am really kind of overjoyed that we're celebrating this as an example of our community's commitment to being a community and the resilience of our community in the face of such a tragedy that we had experienced 2 years ago and are commemorating this week. So I want to thank all of you for being here, all of those who collaborated in getting this project done and the vision that it took to do it, because it is just spectacular. Thank you. Oh, let me, my partner at the state level in so many things that we get to do, and it's always great to have somebody who you really get along with and have mutual respect and be able to agree on priorities for our community. And Senator Costa has been that kind of partner for all of us. So I want to introduce Senator Costa.
Thank you very much, Dan. And let me build on the theme of collaboration, because I think it's really essential for folks to appreciate and understand what that means. The type of communication and coordination that took place here for this project is really not happening in many parts of the county and across the state. I can tell you that. When you think about the community groups' involvement, the work that's being done, and all the agencies that have been involved, certainly each level of government, both local, state, and county government, and also the federal government, but the respective agencies, you heard from PWSA, you heard from ALCOSAN, that's what's really important. And it all started back when Dan Gilman was, this was a priority, Dan, when he was a councilman. We met and identified ways in which we could help at the state level where DCNR was involved. And then Erika Strassburger picked it up and carried the ball with her staff. So that's what happens when you all work together. You end up in a project like this that addresses many issues that we deal with here, not only in our community here, but also in our region. As I look around and see the folks here, many of you don't remember what I grew up to down the street. My brother Guy and I grew up down at the end of Wilkins Avenue on Ridgeville Street, and we used to hang out at Linden Field. But Wightman Field was no different, nor was Auto Race Field. Those were the days where they used to oil fields. If anybody who played here remembers that, think about that. They would bring oil trucks a couple times a year, and the field would be dirt and oil. Now look what we've moved on to, we've evolved to. So I'm really pleased to be here. Wonderful project. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. Dan and Erika, thank you for your persistence in terms of trying to get things done. It's my pleasure to introduce somebody who's been an outstanding partner in many, many ways all across this county, but also working each with our members. And the working relationship that Dan talked about, how important that is, it's exhibited every day by County Executive Rich Fitzgerald. So it's my pleasure to bring up County Executive Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Senator. And, you know, these things that we get to do locally here in the county and the city, you know, wouldn't be possible without great collaboration with both Representative Frankel, Senator Costa, and their team helping us as partners. And you know, along the theme that you've heard again and again, and you'll hear that from the number of speakers, it really is the partnership. It's bringing people together. And with PWSA, the city, ALCOSAN coming together, prioritizing projects like this with a lot of community input too. We heard from the community on what was needed. I live in this neighborhood too, and my kids played in this park, and it's certainly, I wish it would have been done earlier, but that's okay. Well, my grandchildren will play here, so it's a great thing. And the council members who came together, you did mention Councilman Gilman when he was Councilman Gilman representing this district, and then see someone's so excited about this that they're gonna make a little noise. That's those virtual things we do now, right? People cheer for you that way. And now Councilwoman Strasburger carrying the ball across the finish line to make sure that it happened. I also want to thank Councilman O'Connor, his leadership at ALCOSAN, as chair of ALCOSAN's board, to make sure that these projects move forward. So it is a level of collaboration of everybody working together and really improving something in a vision, and a vision that the mayor has had. The mayor had this when he was the councilman here a number of years ago, then becoming the mayor, to make sure that we protect our waterways, we protect our neighborhoods, and we're able to deal with our stormwater in a more environmentally responsible way. So this is a great day for the community, great day for the region. We all should be very, very proud, and thank everybody for being part of it. Now it's my job to introduce the councilwoman, who's now gets to carry the ball across the line with all of her former colleagues and present colleagues working on this project together. Our councilwoman of this district, Councilwoman Erika Strassburger. Erika.
Thank you so very much, and thank you all for being here today. I am blown away by this turnout. You know, during what has been, needless to say, a challenging and often dark 2020, one that's been so difficult for so many families and individuals, I think it's not just helpful, it's critical that we celebrate the bright spots. And I would argue that this is a big bright spot of 2020 in this neighborhood. Let's all take a moment just to let this all sink in, what this park is now, and what you all have done together, collectively, to bring this to fruition. It's truly incredible. I'm so proud of everyone for what we've accomplished together. Now, I'm going to give a couple more thank yous. You've heard from a lot of people give a lot of thank yous. And so, of course, to everyone who's spoken already today, and for Mayor Peduto who hasn't, you know, a big thank you again. I do want to highlight one person who started off our speeches today, and our remarks today, and that is Andrea Ketzel, who's a senior landscape designer, landscape architect for the city of Pittsburgh. She is someone who was the project manager throughout all of this, and really was my go-to whenever I had a question, managing all the different complex pieces of this. I also want to, again, double down and thank all of the funders. ALCOSAN, represented today by Tim Prevost, and ALCOSAN Chair, Councilman Corey O'Connor, Jean Clark, Jan Oliver, everyone there. The State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, and our state representative and senator who you heard from, who helped us procure that funding. And then they helped to kick it up to the federal level and actually get federal land and water conservation funding from the National Park Service. I also want to call out the city's grants department office. They don't get enough credit for all of the work that they do. And I saw firsthand as I was applying for these state and county and federal grants just how much work goes into that. And I really want to thank them as well. I want to thank the Squirrel Hill Urban Coalition, who was our partner, then Councilman Dan Gilman's partner, and then mine throughout this entire process. We're represented here today by Board President Marty Eisler and Executive Director Maria Cohen. They helped to facilitate these meetings, host these meetings. I want to thank the 14th Ward Baseball Association. There are many, many people here today representing them, but in particular Jeff Shook, Greg Allen, Abby Campsey, Emily Loeb. If there's others that I'm forgetting here today, please raise your hands and we'll come and thank you for participating in such a big and present way in the community process. Carriage House, represented today by Sharon Amick and Emily Stimmel and Debbie Welch, who were so accommodating. Carriage House is right across the street, and they were dealing with all sorts of road closures and all the different construction. Also contributing their students who helped to design the artwork. Some of the sculptures that you see here today were designed in part by some of the students as part of a collaborative process with the artists. Becky Mingo, Leah Northrup, Maria Paul, Christina Abernathy, and everyone else who helped to advocate for and consulted with us on the adaptive play equipment and the adult changing tables to make sure that this park is as welcoming to kids and people of all abilities as much as possible. I also want to say that we have here today a very special family. Douglas Hoppy and his family, including Douglas Hoppy is the grandson of Thomas Wightman, who is the namesake of this park. And he's joined today by the great-great-grandchildren of Thomas Wightman, Caden and Jackson, which I think is incredibly special. They might be playing on the equipment, which is great. My only regret is that we don't have Director of DPW of Public Works, Mike Gable, here, because it was his idea to get that slide entrance in, which I'm going to go down as soon as we're done with this. So he played an instrumental role alongside of Andrea. Now, as has been mentioned before, this was like a baton relay. It started with one group and one council member to another council member to the funding, procurement, and then the design of all the different pieces. It was like a baton relay. And we had meetings and meetings and then more meetings, community engagement, trying to satisfy as many different partners as possible in what's less than a 2-acre park is pretty challenging. And all those countless hours fundraising. And through it all, we were able to design a park that I think we can all be incredibly proud of. It prioritizes inclusion with, like I mentioned, play equipment for children with differing abilities. It prioritizes sustainability to minimize basement flooding and to keep our rivers clean, and recreation as well as beautiful design. This park should be a model for all the parks in Pittsburgh. And while this park can and will welcome everyone, regardless of age and ability and interest and neighborhood, I truly believe that every neighborhood deserves a park this wonderful. And I look forward to working with my council colleagues and the mayor and other partners here today to ensure that not just this park, but park equity overall becomes one of Pittsburgh's crown jewels, perhaps emerald jewels. So thank you all, and with that, I'm pleased to turn the podium over to Mayor Bill Peduto, excuse me.
Call me Bill. It's the name I was given. Councilwoman, I am so very proud to be standing here with you today. And folks, I'm just going to be very blunt about this. There's one person to thank for all of this. It's Councilwoman Erika Strassburger. And when I say that, I mean it that she not only helped pull all of us together, but she made it a priority for this neighborhood. And she made it understood that this would be a model that could be replicated throughout the city of Pittsburgh. Her work on PWSA is to find green ways in order to be able to solve our stormwater issues. That although we'll need to have additional pipes, the more areas like this that we can take within our city and to retain our stormwater, the less of a system we're going to need, because it will never go to the pipes.
I hope you understand that as we're standing here today, the people who are the happiest are the people who live on Maryland Avenue in Shadyside. The people who had their Pittsburgh bathrooms, whenever it would rain hard, become Yellowstone National Park. And they would shoot up to the ceiling in their basements, and their basements would flood. And when we looked at the system, we understood that the water that was coming all the way down from Chatham and the water that was coming all the way in from the eastern part were all meeting at the pipes on their street. And now that's not going to happen anymore, because that water coming down from Squirrel Hill will be here. The stormwater, it will be retained on this site. And the flooding that they have experienced for over a decade will end. I have to thank my colleagues in Harrisburg, because we couldn't afford to do this. This does not happen unless there is a partnership between city and state. To Jay and Dan, thank you for making it a priority on your agenda. Thank you for making sure that we are able to create a model that now we can replicate throughout the city, and to work with state representatives and Senator Fontana on making it a priority for all neighborhoods, as the councilwoman stated. The county and the partnership that PWSA has with ALCOSAN, and the leadership that the county executive has demonstrated in making sure that green infrastructure is a key component to dealing with our stormwater process. Again, this is not only something that we can look at and say, hey, we can do this in Homewood, we can do this in Hazelwood, we can do this in the Hill, but it also is something that we can do in communities throughout Allegheny County. And you won't have to travel to Kansas City or to Philadelphia to see the example. You'll just have to come to Squirrel Hill. Finally, I just want to thank a few other people. Councilman O'Connor, as it was mentioned before, who chairs ALCOSAN, who has also made it a priority that we have a green plan and a green infrastructure as a component of all of our development. My chief of staff and the former councilman, Dan Gilman, when Dan and I worked together in city council, we were dealing with just the maintenance of this park. We were dealing with simply making sure that the field was adequate to play baseball. We were looking at making sure that there was equipment and just the basic maintenance. He took it to the next level in understanding that comprehension that this is an ecosystem. And this park is more than just a place for children to play. It's a critical component to the environment of the East End of Pittsburgh, and it can be utilized, and we can check off many boxes. We heard about Mike Gable, the Public Works Director, but also Tom Pollan, who oversees our parks within the Parks Department. We're spending more on our parks than we have ever in the past, and we want to continue to do that. But to be able to take care of all 163 of them, we're going to need to follow through on what was on the ballot last year, which is allocating 1/2 of $1 million to our park system. If we do that, we'll be able to guarantee in the next 20 years, every neighborhood will have something like this. Every child, no matter where their home is or what zip code they live in, will have something like this within a 10-minute walk. What a wonderful city to live in, to be able to say that. And we can do it, but it will take us collectively to make that sacrifice to do so. Chris Hornstein, who oversees our facilities and all the work that has been done, who came on board a few years ago and has just been knocking it out of the park with his team. And as was stated earlier, Andrea Ketzel. And all you have to do is follow Dan Gilman on Twitter to find out everything that's happening at our parks. And it's not every month, it's almost every day that you can see the improvements that are happening. And somehow Andrea is able to manage all of that. I'm blessed. I have great people around me, and I have a community that supports this type of investment. Finally, to the neighbors of Wightman Park, Thank you for your patience. There have been times and meetings and even debates that would be held there, and on the way out the door being stopped by a dozen people saying, come on, you got to come down here and see how this park is not being maintained. And you put up with it for a lot of years. But your patience paid off in what this jewel is now, not only to the neighborhood of Squirrel Hill, but to all of the city of Pittsburgh. So thank you. Thank you for waiting. I hope it was worth the wait.